Hello students, welcome to week 9. I'm just going to go through some details in regards to this assignment, just making sure you understand what is due this coming week, okay? So this is assigned for this coming Monday, April 13, and then I'm just going to scroll down a little bit so you can see, and it's due on Sunday, April 19. So there's two things to do here. This week is not too much, so I'm hoping that you can do this within just maybe less than an hour and a half the most. So the first thing to do, I'm going to do announcements over here. So there's two things. You will have to complete the SimBook Access Chapter 1, creating database and tables. Most of you already done this SimBook, so very good. And then the second thing is the pause and practice. For the pause and practice Access 1.1, you are going to need this data file that I downloaded here. I also downloaded over here on content. If you go to week 9, there it goes. Now, for this pause and practice, please understand that all you have to do here, there's nothing that you completed in terms of saving it again and doing anything. You actually just going through the ribbon and finding and exploring access, which I'm going to explain, okay? But I still need you to submit the database. I know you have it here downloaded and submitted through week 9 so that I know you went through the process. For example, I have here, this is the pause and practice. Here, they're going to ask you to do a few things. For example, they're going to ask you to download the file, to enable editing, just to make sure you can start actually going into the file. They're going to ask you to do a few things. What is an external data, which I will explain. Where do you find the create tab, the navigation pane, the database tools? So I will explain all that. There is something called the expand and collapse arrow, so I will explain all that. So pretty much with this Access 1.1, they just want you to understand how that access page works, the window, where are your things. So moving forward, after this week, they're going to actually have you work on access database and creating more things. So this week is just a SimBook, and then this one is just so you can get familiar with the window of access, okay? So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go back to our class. I did a video already, but let's say that you're ready to do the SimBook for chapter 1. You will click on SimNet. From here, you will go to this button, SimNet SimGrader. And then it's going to take us here. Now, this window is different because I am the instructor, so I'm just going to go student to kind of get your view and then click on library. Now, I'm going to go back over here. This is a completely different class, but if I pick your class where you are, then you have the SimBooks here. So make sure you are reading, okay? There's two, you will see, where is it? Access 3. We're actually not doing this, so don't worry about this one. Some of you already did it. That's completely fine. This is the one that we want. Access Chapter 1, creating a database and tables, okay? Now, this is where you start the SimBook, open SimBook. And remember, I'm going to click on this arrow, going to the right to start. You're going to scroll down, of course, and you are going to do all the let me tries, okay? And now, if there's anything that you don't understand, obviously, you are more than welcome to say, show me or guide me, and go back to let me try, which is the one that is taking you to make sure you get the points, okay? This is a little menu, so these are all the, up to here, let me see. There's just a few questions here that you're going to be answering with the let me try, okay? I'm going to close this. So this is how you get to your SimBook. Now, for the access itself, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to my, so this is what it's due. I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to go back to Blackboard. So the first one I'm going to do, I'm going to go to content, and then I'm going to go all the way to our week 9, and I'm just going to open the database here, okay? So I'm going to download it and go through some of those concepts and those instructions for Access 1.1. Now, one of the things it's going to ask you to do is to enable content. So that's the highlighted yellow bar, okay? The next thing they're going to ask you is to save as. So make sure you save it to wherever you're saving. I'm just going to save it to downloads, okay? And I'm gonna get rid of this and I'm just gonna put my initials, okay? And I'm gonna click save. So now I save on my computer. Again, I have to click enable content, okay? Now there's a few things that you just have to explore. As I mentioned, you don't have to do anything here, but you just have to do some exploring. So for example, they're gonna actually ask you double click. These are tables, these are queries, forms, and reports. So there's a few things going on. This is the navigation pane. This over here is where you close and open, and this is so you close the navigation pane and then you open it up, so you can go back and forth. Now these are the tables. The tables is where you have all the database. So for example, if I double click on classes, that's the information about the classes, okay? The departments, the instructors, and you see these plus signs over here. That's because they made a relationship on them already, meaning it's connected to the rest of the table. So instructors is connected to classes and departments. Department is also, connected to classes and instructors. That's moving forward in a completely different chapter, okay? So we're not going to worry about that, but this is the reason why they have these plus signs. Now, queries are where they want a password. Queries are when you have all this database, and for example, for the classes, you have a class ID, class name, department ID, and so forth. So let's say that all you want to create a query that only have maybe the class name and let's say the location, okay? So then I'm going to click on create, which they will introduce you here, okay? And then I said, okay, I'm just going to create a simple query. So I'm going to click on query wizard here under the queries, okay? And I'm going to say a simple one, yes. Now, because I have highlighted here, okay, so that's what gave me this, the table class. Now, if I wanted a different table, I do have the option to change it, but I'm going to leave it here. So I say that I wanted the class name, and I highlight it, click on this little arrow to go to select the fields over here. And then the next thing I'm going to say, I need the location, okay? And also, you know what, let's do days and times. So I only want these three things. So the whole purpose of a query is that you don't want to print the whole entire database. You just want maybe 2 or 3 things. And that is a query. So I'm going to say next, and then you name your query. I'm just going to leave the name. You can always change it and say finish. So this is our query, guys. So we have the class name, the location, and days time. So a query, a report, that just means that we want to print certain items from the whole entire database. So that's how you do queries. Now, if I wanted to do a report, it's the same thing. It's just a fancy report. So for example, I am going to do from classes, and I'm going to pick the same items so you can see. So I'm going to say report wizard again. So classes, so I want not the query that I did, but I'm just going to go back to classes, the entire table, but I'm going to make the same selections. The class name, I want the location, and also the days and time, which is highlighted already. Click on next, and this is it's asking you, this is how you want it in terms of class name, location, and days time. So I'm going to get yes, click on next. Do you want an alphabetical order? Fine, it's already in alphabetical order. There's different ways that you can print this. You want a portrait, landscape, and these are the layouts. I'm just going to say next, and then here I'm just going to add the word reports, and then I'm just going to click on finish, and it's going to give me the 3 items. This is just a little bit, the look is different for a report. So the reports, remember, and queries are completely the same thing. It's just the layout and how it's presented to you to be ready to print is completely different. Okay, now I'm going to, okay, I'm fine, I'm going to close this. The views over here, see how this view, the views are under here, and I'm just going to say report view to go back, okay? I'm going to go back to, these are the objects that are open, meaning tables, queries. So I'm going to close all of them here. Don't close this one. This will close the entire program. I'm just closing the tabs over here. So I'm just going to close them. That's how you close them. You have everything here. The other thing they're going to talk about is external data. So let's say that I have an Excel spreadsheet that I want to combine to my classes table. I can do that, okay? So I'm going to export. You can import as well, so you can do different things, okay? Then the database tools, this is where you do the relationship. So remember how these department and instructors have, let me double click in here, this plus sign. So they do the relationship to merge this with the rest of these two, okay? Let's see what else they're gonna ask you to do. So back to home, and then you have different, you can actually do some formatting, not too much, but you can still do spelling as well, just different things, okay? Let me go back to the, not this, where the instructions are for this one, for the content 3. Did I close it? Let me just go back over here, and what I want to do, just to make sure that I go through, explore what you're supposed to be exploring for that chapter under the Access 1.1. So for example, I'm going to go back to the pause and practice 1.1 right here, and let me see the instructions. So we downloaded it and we named the content, we name, we save the file. The create tab, this is where you will find to create queries and reports and forms. The external data, I just talked about when you can grab information from another program and implement it in that database, but with the fields have to match, okay? Now the navigation pane, I already told you how to close and open, okay? Tables, I told you what tables are and queries. The objects are the X where we close. I'm going to show you a little bit more. Let's see what else they have. Design view. Let's talk about, let me go back to the Access. So this is the table. The home tab is view. These are the view. If you click on design tab, this is where you can actually add more field names. That will be like the subheadings in Excel. But with Excel, Access, you have to say, okay, what type of information are you going to be typing in that particular column? So, for example, department ID has the outer number. Well, what does that mean? The outer number is just giving a number, 1, 2, 3. That's an outer number that Access generates for you. And I'm going to go back to the design view. The field name, I'm sorry, it's my dog is barking. My field name for the department name is called short text, which means it's just wording, okay? And the department short portion is a name, so it's just short name as well. Notice that, for example, I'm going to click on the department name. You have 50 for field size. That means you have 50 up to 50 characters to type. For the most part, by default, they will give you 255. And sometimes we don't want 255, wording there, characters to type. We just need 50. The department name should be not that long. That's what it means. And these are the tabs that means what we have opened so far. So I'm going to close. And so, for example, if I go back to the department and we are in the design view, now I'm going to go back to the database. This is where you have the information right there. So for this, the purpose of this Access 1.1 is for you to just get familiar with the windows, with the tools and navigation pane and some of the tabs like the create tab, external tab, database tools, so that we can continue after this week and start working on the actual Access database. If you have any questions, as always, just let me know. Thank you.